So I was just at a friend's shop and he had dropped his 75 and it wasn't cutting right. Obviously he knocked out the calibration of his track saw. So in this video I'm going to show you how to calibrate your track saw to your guide rail. And it's a simple operation. Stay tuned. So the reason you calibrate your saw to the rail, once again, is if you have excessive burning on the side of your cut and it just seems like it's bogging down a little. The other reason is you have a track saw now and you go and get another track saw, say you have a 55 and you bring it up to you get a 75 or you get another 55. You want to calibrate each saw to the same rail. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. So remember, when you start your calibration after you've made that initial cut, which you'll see in a couple of minutes, make sure that your plug-it cord is removed from your track saw when you start your calibrations. So this is not new information. It's actually on page 22 of the supplemental manual. They're on the Festool USA website, and just click on the supplemental and they're fantastic instructions. It's page 22. So this is a track I have for my 75, and what I'll do eventually is I'll match a 55 to it. But first what I want to do is I want to make sure that the rail is clamped to a piece of wood. Sometimes I'll use MDF, sometimes I'll use plywood, I know it's flat, and I'll just clamp it forward and aft. So the next thing I'm going to do, because we want this perfect, I'm going to take this and see the cams that adjust to this rib of the rail. I'm going to tighten it up all the way so it doesn't move and slowly back it off. That knocks the lateral tolerance out of there. Okay, so it's pretty simple. I'm going to take the fast fix, open it up, and bring it down and lock it in. Now this was cutting really sweet, but I want to show you what it should look like and then I'll do an adjustment. I take just a normal business card and I'll bring it in, and that's usually, I'll go to metric. It's a 64th, but it's usually 0.40. There are some business cards that are a little bit thicker, and there are some that are really thick, okay? So just take a standard business card. I'm gonna grab it right here, and you're gonna see this tooth right here? I can't get the business card in there now, can I? Okay, that's just like a table saw, because a table saw, only the front tooth is. Your fence should always be kicked out. That's called towing the saw. Now I'm gonna bring the riving knife up on the 75. It's really powerful. You're gonna see, I can slip that in there, that business card. That is a well-towed saw. So what if your 75 or your 55 is burning? Now, it could be that you have a dirty blade, clean it, or it's wicked dull, get a new blade. The third thing, and this is what we're going to do now, is the toe of the saw. I'll show you how to do it. It's so simple. Come over here, Chris, so I can show you. You have 4 screws here. Oh, by the way, make sure your saw is down and locked in and at perfect 90. This was because we made a cut earlier with it. But you have these little screws right here, here, and here. This one can be a little tough to access. I'll show you a little tip on that. It's a number 20 Torx. You don't have to loosen them all that much, but I'm just gonna take some tension off here and here. I'm gonna lock it down, fast fix, and I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna loosen this one. And cameraman, come over here. See this? This sometimes is in the way to get it. You got to get it at an awkward angle. So another trick I've always used is a ball-tipped 3mm hex, and I can loosen it just like that. You actually saw it move as I did it. See how that's moving? Come down here so you can see this. So what I'll do is I get the movement. You'll see how it can move back and forth on those posts. So I'll take it like this and I'll press it here like that. Okay, I'll take my business card, I'll put it right in here like this, but I'll do this. I know I can't get a business card in there because that's my cutting tooth. I'll come over here. Look how super simple this is. I'll lock it here, and I'm not gonna over crank them, but I'm just gonna take it like this, like this. I'm always going back and forth. I know I have that right there. I'm gonna tighten this back one like this, and then I'm gonna take that 3mm ball tip and tighten that. I'm gonna verify, right again, look, boom. And then I'm gonna just put some good, pretty decent tension on there. Don't kill it, don't turn it a quarter turn past snap. And just get some tension on there. And now that is how simple it is to tow your saw. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here and double check. I'm gonna come over here and double check. Now I use a business card, I always have. That's what works for me. In that supplemental manual, they'll tell you the exact feeler gauges to use. This on the fly for me works absolutely perfect every time I've done it. So we adjusted the toe of the 75 to this rail. Now, you go through the same process of adjustment, and this is the older TS55 EQ, where if you notice here, the screws are on top. I just want to take this down here so you can see how this toe is actually working perfect on here. So this is calibrated to the same rail as my 75. Now, this is a newer version. It's the TS55 FEQ. Your track saw may be this way, where you don't see any screws here, do you? But the screws are on the bottom here and here. And I'm gonna show you how to adjust this, because there's a couple tips and tricks on this as well. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do, like every track saw, is I'm gonna take it and make sure that all the slop is knocked out. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift it up, and I wanna show you right here. See how right here it's narrower and here it's wider? There's actually a toe on this saw right now. That's how you can see that. So just want to mention that to you. I'm going to loosen these screws up here and here. Not a lot, just enough. Okay, here and here. Okay, and you're going to see how that gapped, right? There's your gap. Okay, so let's put it on here like this. We're going to take it, put it in fast fix like this. Now, you're probably wondering, how the heck are we going to calibrate this? Well, it's pretty daggone easy. I'm going to take that, put it in there, I'll press the front. Now, how do I tighten those screws? Come in here, hopefully you can see it. Right here, there's little 2mm hexes, and there's one right down by that knob. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that that's tight right there. I'm gonna grab another business card to make sure that that is tight right there. Okay, so I can't get it in there, but my business card is in there. And I'm gonna tighten it down here, and that'll help me tighten those screws. And don't forget, when you're tightening these little 2mm hexes from the top, it's counterintuitive, where we always say righty tighty, lefty loosey. It is a lefty tighty. That's counterclockwise to tighten them from above. Okay, good. So we have tension on those 2mm hexes from the top. And I always do this, I always verify. That's tight and this is still loose. So what I do is I just bring it back here, and then I tighten the 2 screws back here as I pull it off right here, the 20mm on the back edge. Just like this, 1 and 2. I'm gonna bring it back over, and I'm just gonna verify like this, tight, and there you go. So now this 55 FEQ is calibrated with the older EQ and the TS75, all to the same rail. So there you have it. The 2 reasons you calibrate the saws to the rail is if you've dropped it, you got excessive burning, or you want to calibrate all the saws to the same guide rail, so you don't have to buy all these multiple guide rails, one for the 75, one for the 55. Hey, I hope this video helped, and as we always say, be positive and stay sharp.